Hi, I thought it was just me for a minute. Hey, Melinda.
Hey. Hi, Anna. How are
Hey,
you?
good. Welcome to Cup of Joe with Anna and Sheila, and sometimes Melinda, or
That's
sometimes
me.
Aaron. Yes. Like, follow, share Cup of Joe with Anna and Sheila on all the social medias. And I always try to say that I try to, say where we're located, and I get a little naughty note or a text from Aaron saying that's not what it is, and I have my mask on. I just realized that. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So we're on Facebook. We're on
Twitter,
Twitter, we're on Instagram
YouTube.
and YouTube, and the email address, hopefully she'll put it in the comments here, but feel free to like, follow, share. It is getting a little sparse here as we're heading towards the end of the year, ramping up for election season. So if you want to be on our show or have an idea of something we can cover, we'd love your comments and suggestions.
Yeah, please. I'm the booking agent officially. So please say, Melinda, I want to be on your show and I will
Right,
get you in. No problem.
right. So, as some of our viewers know, most of us are in Florida, except Aaron, our producer, is in Virginia, and I'm in North Carolina now. So we're a little spread out all around the South. But what's going on? And Melinda, I don't mean to throw you a curveball
That's
question, but
okay.
what's
Well,
going on?
the big story here is Gabby, who unfortunately was found passed away, we're guessing. And then her boyfriend, Brian, what's his
Who is
last name?
who is
Ron.
Gabby? Who's Gabby?
Abby is a young girl that was making her name on Instagram, and she bought a conversion van and she went cross country. She's about 22 and started living the dream, going cross country, visiting all these great places
Mm.
with her boyfriend, and wanted to make like a travel blog. And
So, how is this
YouTube and
related to Florida,
Instagram
Melinda? How is this related
because
to Florida?
because they're from here. The
Oh,
boy
from
is yeah, the boy is from Florida, and he has taken off and disappeared, and people are tracking him. And I haven't heard if they found him or not.
oh no, we just lost Melinda.
You
And
lost
she's
me?
frozen. Yeah, you're frozen. Oh, now you're there. So
Okay.
anyway,
I
are
wasn't
they
frozen
from
at once.
Fishhawk?
No, they're not from Fishhawk, but they're from somewhere in Florida. I can't remember
Oh,
the name of the
so
town.
that's been the topic of
So that's
discussion?
been, yeah, it's actually been national news as well. So that's
Oh,
been the big thing
I haven't
here
seen it.
that in the last few days that has captured my attention.
Okay.
Um, Trying to think if anything
Well,
else has
the other thing
happened.
that I've noticed, Melinda, is I think that the COVID rates are starting to decrease, as well as the hospitalizations are starting to decrease in Hillsborough County.
I'm
So not
hoping so.
Yeah, so not sure if that's really due to the fact that many people are wearing more masks. I don't know, but
Well, I would like to think so because they did start the mask mandates in the schools here and defied Governor DeSantis, which I was all for because my son is going to be soon to be a teacher. So
yay.
he's getting ready to start teaching eighth grade reading. So I'm very excited about that. But I'm also nervous about him being in the schools
Mhm.
exposed to things. And I was just in Italy, and you know what? In Italy, everybody wore a mask.
Mhm.
You had to show your card. They called it the green card there, but your vaccination card to get into any grocery store, hotel, shop, museum, any place you wanted to go. If you wanted to go inside and have a gelato, you better have your card because
Mhm.
you couldn't go inside if you didn't have it. And everyone, like I said, was masked up and nobody had a problem. It was refreshing and I felt very safe as far as COVID, and we didn't catch COVID there. We had to test ourselves right before we got back on the airplane to come back to America. You have to test yourself and make sure you don't have
Mhm.
it. So,
Yeah.
right, just
Well,
saying.
it might be just the area that I'm in. I think we've had this discussion before here
Hmm.
and where I am in the Research Triangle, North Carolina. Everyone just kind of follows the rules. So it's and my husband Dan has made that, I guess, comment or observation that is very different up here.
Yeah.
So if only the Floridians, come on guys, just wear the masks.
Well, I will say, in all honesty, like I have noticed more people wearing masks out. Like
Oh, it's good.
I had to go to Walmart to get ear things because my husband got me a new phone and I needed them really quick. So I just ran in there and out. But I only saw one person out of the whole store that did not
Hmm.
have on a mask,
Oh,
and it
that's
was an
good.
old
So maybe
man.
maybe that's indicative in the decrease in the numbers then.
I'm hoping, and I hope people
Yeah,
continue to wear them because we got to stop this COVID, and
I
it's
know.
it's going to keep mutating if we don't. So
Mhm.
get
So,
jabbed.
yeah. So, this little podcast started during the election season, right? As more of just a very informal, relaxed kind of, this is what's going on in the neighborhood, and there's people like
Hmm.
us, and it kind of morphed into, I guess, just a commentary, not really about politics necessarily, but just about Florida, kind of what's going on in our area. And I think we'll probably ramp up a little bit more in terms of support and of some of the politicians as we head into the next election season. But
Yeah.
having said that, there's a big ramp up that we need, and we thought we would bring on one of the regional field directors from the Democratic Party to talk
She's
about
the
some of
West
their.
Central Florida Regional Director for the
Yes,
Florida Democrats.
that is right. And that's very different than the Florida West Central. She is the West Central Florida.
West Central. Got that?
Yes, not Florida West Central.
No,
She is the West Central
West
Florida
Central
regional.
Florida region.
Yes,
Hmm.
regional field director. So with
Yes.
that, we're interested in hearing what they've got planned, and I don't know where she is right now. There she is.
Hey, Taylor. It's Taylor
Hey, Taylor.
Aguilera.
So I thought we
Hi,
lost you there for a minute.
I'm here. I'm here.
I
Thank
was
you for having
just
me.
last week in Taylor's class online about how you register, how to volunteer to register people to vote. I had to go through a class, and she was an excellent instructor. But that's how I got to know her. And I'm like, hey, come on our show. I was so excited.
Great.
Yeah, the saying goes, always be organizing, Melinda. So keep
I'm
organizing
trying.
the show.
I'm
Yes,
trying.
we do. Thanks to a lot of support and volunteers, Melinda as well as Sheila are always trying to get people
Sheila
on the
too.
show.
Yep, everybody helps. Everybody. I mean, I have friends that'll call me and give me
Yeah.
suggestions, and I greatly appreciate that. Our
And
people just pop up and say, "Hey, could we be on your show?" And I'm like, absolutely. So
And I just kind of sit here in my office and just talk to people that come on the show. I have no idea. I just kind of show up and they do
man,
all
they
the
just
work.
started the show, and you know what's been going across my feed?
What?
That's been so exciting. All the stuff we did last year. It's been so much fun to look back on everything and all the memories.
Yeah, we did start this back in the
Hmm.
day.
I gotta
I
say,
had a dream about a coffee cart. That's how it's kind of, we started just talking, and I had a dream about a coffee cart. And that's kind of how it happened. And
Yeah,
Anna just took it and ran, and I was like,
I
go,
did.
Anna.
Yep.
I gotta say, I was on staff during the Biden campaign here in the general Tampa Bay area. Though I didn't work in Tampa, but I ended up hearing about Cup of Joe because a staff member that was in this area was so excited about your
That was
show.
Matt.
Yeah.
Yes, Max, shout out to him. So we kind of thought it was just this really awesome thing that people were just trying to get the word out despite us having to be separated last year. So y'all
Yep.
are legends on the
Suburban
Biden campaign.
Housewives. Yep. Just some suburban housewives trying to be a
Suburban Housewives. But
Right.
actually, when they came on, it was one of our highest rated shows because we had some questions, and I think they thought, I mean, to their credit, oh, we're just Suburban Housewives. We had some really good questions for them. I think we stumped them on a couple things.
We are actually college graduates and educated professionals, although we're not professional um, podcast people. We got in our lives we're
I don't
professional.
know about that, Melinda. I mean, we've
Do you
been
think
doing
it's
this for a
changing?
while. I
And
think we
should we
could
say
call
we're
ourselves.
professionals?
I think we
We
should
do
say
have
that
business
we
cards and a theme, like a theme song. So maybe we are
do have
professionals and we
one.
just don't know it.
We have a lot of experience now.
No.
Anyway, so Taylor, in preparation for the next election season, tell us what's going on. Tell us what that great Democratic Party is thinking of. We have high hopes for them. They've encountered quite an obstacle in terms of the organized machine of the Republican Party. So, what has the Democratic Party got up its sleeve, or what are their thought processes in terms of getting people to vote? Because I think that's the biggest thing here in Florida.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Florida, we are really important in the grand scheme of elections. So, we are working really hard already at the Florida Democratic Party. I think some people kind of have this disposition that we're a year out from an election, right? So, we are actually working all across the state of Florida right now. I'm in charge of the greater Tampa Bay region, West Central Florida, but I have colleagues all over the state who are training and activating volunteers, similar to what Melinda mentioned earlier, coming to a voter registration training and then plugging them into their local county parties who are out there doing the work on the streets of getting people registered to vote. We have awesome county parties that are doing cultural events. They're going to farmers market on Saturday morning to help register voters. They're going to apartment complexes where there's people who need to be registered and welcome to the neighborhood because they just got here. So there's people all over the state that are working hard, both staff members, both volunteers, to get these people trained and activated to go out in their own communities to register voters.
So
activated. That's what I like to say. I am activated.
So if people want to get involved and join in the fun, join the party, or try to encourage people to vote or really volunteer, what is the process, or how should they get involved? What should they go to?
Yeah, so if you're local to the greater Tampa Bay region, you can go to the link that's listed right here below me and sign up. We have a voter registration training every Wednesday at 7 p.m. and it's held online, so this can be done from the safety of your own home. If you're outside of that area, go to floridadems.org. There's a little tab that says Get Involved, and you'll be able to look at a map of the state of Florida and select where you're at and contribute there. You can certainly still be involved if you don't live in the state and you're listening in. I recommend going to that floridadems.org Get Involved section and adopting a part of the state. I would love if you adopted my region, but go in there and poke around.
So
I also wondered about mobilize.us because I think I found out about that through mobilize.us. Are you on there as well?
Yes, absolutely. So mobilize.us is an awesome service that helps you find activist type activities in your zip code radius that you select. So if you go to mobilize.us, you can actually type in your zip code, and depending on what setting you put it on, you can find everything in a 15-mile radius. So all of my events are on there, as well as local county parties and other activist organizations that are in the area.
So tell us a little bit about this training that you went to, Melinda, that Taylor, I guess, officiated. So what was it like? Does everyone have to go to that training to try to encourage people to vote, or what's the process?
I believe everyone has to go through the training because you get a packet. And there are rules that you need to follow. There's rules that you have to tell people, and you can't really, you just have to be very non-political when you're signing people up to vote. That's very important. And I have done this work before, actually. So it's something I've actually done before. And people are usually very grateful. And you don't get into any, I've never had any kind of confrontation, but this was a few years ago. So I don't know what it would be like now. But before, people were just grateful that someone came to them and helped them register to vote. So of course, we would love to have the Democrats register to vote, but if they turn out to be with the other party or an independent, if they're an independent, I do believe it's important to explain to them, because a lot of people in this state, especially if you're moving from somewhere that doesn't have this, you have to be registered with a party in order to vote in the primaries, national and local. And that is something. I came from Kansas. We didn't have that in Kansas. So that was something kind of new. And when my kids were coming of age to vote, that was something I said, I know you want to be, an independent, but if you don't register, you're not going to be able to vote for your candidate in the primaries. And I think that does have an impact on how things can go for candidates. So if you want your people in to be able to run, you need to be registered with a party here. You can still do independent if you want, but you won't get a say in the primaries. So explaining that is very important. And also there was a paragraph that you actually have to read to people. I can't remember what it said. I don't have it in front of me, but there are certain steps. So that training is very vital. And Taylor did a great job of explaining everything. It wasn't boring. It only took maybe 30 minutes. It went pretty quick. And yeah, it was great.
Melinda was an A-plus student because she just told you the whole training right back to you. Melinda, another great point when you're talking to people about, registering with a party, this got brought to my attention today and it kind of made me laugh, was if you are no party affiliation, you're going to get mail and phone calls and text messages from both parties instead of just one, because both parties are fighting for your vote at that point. So kind of made me laugh, and is a great, very valid point to make to people who might be sitting in that independent zone.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, well, that is a good point. I had not thought of that. So that's
I hadn't
great.
either.
So in terms of, when we had the election, it seemed like there was a lot of different folks from the Democratic Party that were kind of all over the place. So tell us a little bit about how that I guess, what is the plan in terms of getting closer to the election? Are we going to see more Taylors? How do folks, when they get a little bit more closer to the election, they seem to be a little bit more active. So how does that work in terms of the organization of the Democratic Party and in terms of our area and who we should reach out to?
Yeah, so I definitely recommend right now reaching out to your local county party. So just about every county in the state of Florida has they call it a Democratic Executive Committee, or DEC. And those are our local community partners that are on the ground. We are helping them put on voter registration events. We're helping them set up phone banks. So they are going to have those active campaign type activities that we like to volunteer for ready, because the Florida Dems are partnering with them to make sure that that's up and running all across the state of Florida. We're of course helping with the training piece too, helping to make sure everybody is getting trained at the same level, no matter what part of the state you're in.
Oh, and one other thing that was important that I learned in my important training from Taylor was the new laws took effect. So you have to make sure that you're registered. And I still have to look at the wording of that, because honestly, that was a little confusing for me as well. So I might be calling you just to double check that I understand exactly what I'm saying to people, because I just want to make sure I get it right.
Yeah, we were no exception to the voter suppression laws that were passed all across the United States this last legislative session. So Senate Bill 90 got signed into law, and we had a whole bunch of purges, both in voter registration and in vote by mail. New requirements for signing up for vote by mail. You now have to provide either the last four of your social or your driver's license number. That's something that was new. So we're really encouraging everyone to reach out to their local supervisor of elections to just confirm that, if you were enrolled in vote by mail during the presidential, confirm that you still are. There was a huge jump of people who are signed up for vote by mail. Even if you've been to every single election, you should still be checking your voter registration status no matter what. Ultimately, we have humans that work at our supervisor of elections office. We assume best intentions, but things happen. So it's up to us to make sure that we check that record regularly.
So everyone needs
to
check.
Go online. It's pretty easy. You can just Google vote by mail Florida, and it'll take you right to the website, and then you just punch in your information, and it will tell you if you're registered to vote or not. So it's actually pretty easy to do that, because I checked, because I was like, oh, I better check if I'm registered or not.
What was that site? It was so good during the election season. I forget what it was, but it was
iwillvote.com.
iwillvote.com. That's right.
That is still active. So if anyone needs to enroll and vote by mail, you can go to iwillvote.com and enroll.
It's an easy thing to remember, iwillvote.com. Yep. So thank you so much, Taylor, for coming on the show and educating our viewers and getting us all excited and prepared for the next election. We'll probably have you on again as we get closer, especially if we have different events. I know we have a lot of people that will probably want to get involved.
Maybe we can do a live feed one time and somehow mush it all together.
Yes.
So you and I can be out on the street. And then
we did that
together. I know you did.
I know you were COVID. Yeah.
Don't want to get
I think Sheila and I had a pole dancing Don't you remember that? Instead of we were
Yes, I
poll
do. I
watching.
remember you went down to Casa Biden. Didn't you go to Casa Biden one time?
Sheila
Or-
did, but the whole
Okay.
poll watching and what was the other one? Poll, I forget. So then we did pole dancing, of course, because people want to see us do that. Anyway, that was one
No,
of our live feeds.
I think I might have skipped that one.
Okay. All right.
Um,
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Taylor.
Thank you for
Thank you,
having
Katie.
me.
And please brag about us. And if you find anybody that, I seriously, I'm looking for people to come on the show all the time. So, so plug me in to people and say, hey, my friend Melinda hooked you up. So
Sounds
that's
good. Thank you, ladies. I really
All
appreciate
right.
the invite.
thank you for
See
coming
you.
on.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
That was a good show when we had we used to call them the Biden boys just because they were young men.
Yeah,
And
they were
then
cute.
yes, and then we were going to have a Biden bowl between the Biden boys and the Biden gals, right? Because there was a
Yeah.
lot of sort of younger women that were in the
Mm-hmm.
Biden campaign, and we were going to have
There
this
they
kind of
were.
this little scholar bowl or Biden bowl, as we called it. But we had so many great ideas, just didn't have a lot of good time. But that was an exciting time, and I'm glad we got picked up by the Biden campaign.
Yep,
Fun
me
times.
too. All right.
So, what's going on? Who do we have coming up next in terms of
Next
a lot of
week, I'm
guests?
so excited. This is another one where I kind of said something on my messenger to someone. She got back to me, and then we were talking, and I invited her on the show, and she said yes. And this is the lady with the Women's March for Tampa Bay, so she's
Oh,
coming next week. So
yeah.
because we've got a march coming up October 2nd, but I think it's going to be held in this one is going to be held in St. Pete. So
Okay.
I want her to come on and talk about because one of the questions that I had is why aren't you doing it in Tampa? And she had some interesting comments back to me. So that's one of the things we
Oh,
were
okay.
going to talk
Well,
about.
there's a few of us that did actually go to the Women's March in last year, as around this time last year. So it'd be interesting to talk to her as to why it's going to be had. It's going to be in St. Pete versus Tampa.
Hmm.
So more to
I
come
think
on
because
that.
they have a larger turnout and they want the numbers. So
We'll have to ask
that's
her.
my
We can't
understanding.
give it
Yeah,
away. Can't give it away.
but yeah.
Yes. Stay tuned to figure out why they picked St. Pete over Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Or Tampa rather.
Yeah.
So she's coming on next week or the week after next?
The 27th. That's
Next
week.
week. That's 7 days. Yep. Okay.
I haven't
So
gotten
it's
past the 27th. I need people to come on the show. So like I said, still looking for guests. So come on.
right.
Let
So
me
like,
know.
follow, share. Let us know if you have guest ideas.
Yes. Have a great Anna, I miss you so much. I only get to see you when I do this on the show. So
I
you need to
know.
be better about keeping in touch.
I
When are you
know. I need
coming
to
back
come.
to Florida? You coming
I think
back in
I'm gonna come back. I think the first week of October.
Oh, okay, good. All right.
Yeah.
Well, let me know because I want to say howdy do.
Okay. All right. So
All
until
right.
next time, like, follow, share to Ruth.
To Ruth.